大家好，我是奥地利的小胡。Today I have a very special video for you. I will talk about how to become and how to be a Western chef. Many of you guys have been sending me messages exactly about this topic with many questions. So I decided to make a special video just for you guys. I will talk about you first, the responsibilities that Western chefs have in the kitchen. Second, how the reality really looks like. How is the workday of a Western chef? What can you expect to really do in the kitchen? Third, I want to talk with you a little bit about the classical hierarchy of a French kitchen. And fourth and last, I will tell you if you want to really approach the career as a chef, what are your options? What kind of school could you visit in Europe or in Austria, even in China? What kind of ways of study and possibilities are there to land a good job in a Western kitchen? Let's talk about responsibilities. The first thing you will need to learn when you enter the kitchen is cleaning. This will be your job for many days, maybe even weeks before you start serious cooking. Every Western chef needs to know how to keep his workplace clean, the fridges, and often also the workplace of your executive chef, because he might just go his way and go all crazy, making everything dirty, and it's your job often to clean after him. After you manage this great skill, you will be taught some basic cutting techniques. In the Western kitchen, we have very specific ways to cut something. There are traditional French cuts, a julienne, a bâtonnière, or just simple cubes that are essential to every chef's life. After you manage to handle your knife, you will finally start cooking. And there is many small cooking tasks to do in a Western kitchen, where I'm later gonna talk more detailed about. When you build up more and more experience in cooking, you might be given the responsibility to order and keep track of the stock. So you need to know the principles of first in, first out. You will be taught basic principles about how long can you keep food, what kind of food you can store in what kind of ways, and also you will learn over the time how much food do you need to order for how many people, because keeping the food cost low is an essential responsibility of every chef. After you have been through cleaning, cooking, ordering vegetables, and you know all the essential ingredient knowledge that is necessary, you will probably already be higher up in the ranks of the senior chefs. At this moment, you might be responsible for some of the management tasks of the kitchen. That includes staff management, for example, schedules, or how to plan certain holidays. You might maybe even be involved in the menu planning. Every season has a different menu, so the menu must continuously be fresh and be changed. The head chef will always have the last say in the menu, but his sous chefs often can help him out in making some creative decisions. Last but not least, every chef has certain responsibilities in terms of safety, not only food safety, but also personal safety. You need to know about what kind of shoes you need to wear and how to use all kinds of kitchen utensils. For example, a slicing machine can be a very dangerous object. So every chef needs to know how to handle it and also how to maintain it properly. Also, many other kitchen materials can be very expensive technical utensils, and each and every chef, from a commis till the head chef, they all need to know how to handle them and how to maintain them properly. Let's come to the second part. How is it to be a Western chef? Well, working in a restaurant or a hotel means heavy work. Often you will be required to work 14, maybe 15, 16 hours a day, and you will spend this day mostly standing. That means For lunch break, you might just get 15-20 minutes of sitting down and eating, but I honestly, as a chef, had many days where I didn't even had that, and I need to eat my lunch or my dinner standing somewhere beside of a kitchen table to just get back to work as quick as possible. So you need to be ready to spend your work time in the kitchen, mostly evenings and of course holidays, because basically when others party, you need to work. The kitchen can be a hectic and tough workplace, and the kitchen team is basically the heart of the restaurant. So it is important to keep the team always in good condition. Being a good team player is what every chef will look for. You need to be the first one to start in the morning and the last one to leave, never complaining about overhours. You should be the one that always jumps if there's anything to clean and never complain about it. If your colleague makes a mistake, you better be there and just save him and help him out to get things straight again. And if your chef is showing a new technique or something like this, he should not ask you to come to watch and learn. You should just be ready to stand there, observe, and learn all these new things by yourself. A good team player is gonna be a good and successful chef. Another very important thing in a Western kitchen is time management. As already mentioned, each Western kitchen has different sections. That means that one plate of food might have some meat, some vegetables, some starch on it, and each of these items might come from a different chef. If a restaurant has 60 seats and each of the guests orders maybe 3, 4, or 5 different courses, that means that all the chefs need to know exactly which table, which plate, at what time needs to be finished. In a good Western restaurant, it is necessary for one table to be served one course at the same time for each person sitting on the table. That means the head chef in an a la carte restaurant has the job to time all these different plates perfectly. He needs to make sure that each piece of meat or fish with the matching piece of vegetable or the matching sauce must be ready at exactly the right time to be served to exactly the right table. This kind of management can be very stressful and can make a kitchen look very chaotic. But as long as the kitchen communication is flawless, a good chef will always manage to handle good time management. Another thing you should be understanding if you want to work in a Western kitchen is the basic traditional French kitchen hierarchy. All the way on the bottom, everyone starts as a commis chef, which is something like an apprentice. After finishing and becoming a full-grown chef, you will be a demi-chef that works on one specific task in one of the sections of the kitchen. The leader of each section is called a chef de partie, which is already a more senior chef in the kitchen. All chefs de parties, they need to report to the second in command, which is the sous chef. There are often several sous chefs depending on how big a kitchen is. Often it's just one for the hot or one for the cold side. In smaller restaurants, it might just be one. Above the sous chef, you will have a chef de cuisine. The chef de cuisine basically is responsible to keep the kitchen going. Depending on how big the kitchen is, for example, if it's a hotel kitchen, there might be another chef on top of the chef de cuisine, which is called the executive chef. The chef de cuisine is basically stationed in the kitchen to really make sure the kitchen work is going its normal ways. He will do ordering, he will oversee the stock of the food items and all these kind of things. While the executive chef is not only in charge of this particular kitchen, but maybe also in charge of other kitchens all around the hotel. In a classical Western kitchen, each chef will have his specific task that he needs to focus on and where his responsibility goes to. One of these chefs is called a saucier. This person is just responsible for finishing sauces, certain meat dish, sometimes like warm hors d'oeuvres, and he can also be responsible for some sautéing jobs. Besides of him, there is a rôtisseur. His job is roasting, broiling and deep frying. Fish is also its own section, which is taken care of by the poissonnier. I'm sorry for my French, it might be I'm saying this wrong, but I'll try my best. Entremetier. The entremetier takes care of soups, vegetable dishes and all kind of egg dishes. The garde-manège takes care of salads, cold cuts, hors d'oeuvres and all kind of other cold dishes. Last but not least, the person take care of the pastry is the pâtisseur. Under the pâtisseur, there can be even more specific people like a chocolatier who only takes care of chocolate, or a boulanger whose only responsibility is baking. These are just the basic tasks for different chefs, and in a really big kitchen there can even be more specific tasks for chefs. This is also why many people ask me to, for example, make some wedding cake decorations, but since I am not a pâtisseur, I have actually never really learned how to do high-class pastries. I do some of them because I learned them by myself and they are more easy desserts, but to be a really great pastry chef, it takes many years of learning and experience. And at last, let's talk about how to become a chef. Mainly, I will be talking about how systems work in Austria, since this is what I really know about, but I do assume there are other European countries which have similar systems. And I will also tell you about some international options. In Austria, during your secondary education, you can already choose to become a chef from early years on. There are different schools offering different ways. One option would be a school which is 80% working in a restaurant with 20% school time and theoretical knowledge, which end up in a journeyman's education. The other option would be a more private school where you will learn lots of other theoretical knowledge, maybe about restaurant management and these kind of things, and you will finish with something similar to a Gaukau degree, which also enables you to go to university later on, which a journeyman's education does not. If you already finished secondary education, there are also different ways to get your chef's diploma. In Austria, for example, there is a certain institute. They offer you to finish your journeyman's education by just giving them the proof of 1.5 year working experience in the kitchen, plus finishing a 10 weeks course in theoretical knowledge. Afterwards, you will be rewarded with your diploma and it will cost you around 2,000 euro. Now, let's come to some international options that you can choose after your secondary education. Many culinary schools have been very popular over the recent years of chefs to attempt. Many famous culinary schools like La Cordon Bleu from France, they have now schools all over the world, even in Shanghai. Often these schools are very expensive though. Their educations, they rank from around 10 months to maybe 2 to even 3 years, often having tuition fees of 10 to 20,000 euro per year. So they are very expensive. There are also some other schools in Europe, they charge smaller fees from around 4 to 5,000 euro per year. These schools are mostly private and can only be attended if you're older than 18 years old and you finished your secondary degree. Also, you need to pay attention what are the language requirements for these kind of schools. If you want to attend one of these schools in Europe, you often need to be fluent in the local language or fluent in English if the school offers an English course. These are just some official choices that you have in terms of schooling to become a Western chef. My personal experience as a chef with other chefs hiring other chefs is that schooling is not as important as you might think like. These schools are very expensive. and they go over many years. I am sure that these schools are really professional and you can learn a lot there about classical French cuisine, about classical cuisines from other European countries. You will learn techniques, you will learn very valuable knowledge about ingredients and all kind of other things. However, when you want to really work in a high-class Western restaurant, the chef will look at your CV, and having a good diploma will not give you a golden ticket into the kitchen. Actually, the chef community is a very much mouth-to-mouth community. That means if you have been working in great restaurants already and you are trying to go to another great restaurant, the chances are pretty big that the chef will just pick up the phone, call your previous workplace and ask how you have been working there, why did you leave there. He will just ask the other chef to give you a personal recommendation. And personal recommendations are by far the most important thing when you want to become a Western chef. If you really want to become a great Western chef in great European restaurants, I personally think you could save that huge amount of money that you would spend on a school and just use it to go to Europe and try to apply for apprentice jobs at some little bit better upper scale restaurants. After you have worked there for 2, 3, 4 years and you have gathered all this basic information, you can go to the next level of restaurants and just keep adding up to your CV with good reputations. If you are a great team player, if you are a person that always works really hard and learns really fast, and if you love to be a chef, each of your head chefs will notice this and he will write you a really great recommendation that will enable you to slowly climb up the ladder, go into better and better and better restaurants till you will end up eventually in a 3 Michelin star restaurant if this is your dream. 谢谢你看我的视频，是你让我想要努力拍更好的视频和说中文。点赞、分享和 please 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 关注我，你的关注才能让我继续拍摄。Love you guys!